Right. Oh, hang on. My screen's gone off. There we are. It's back on. Right. Yeah, it's gorgeous outside. I just whap some water on it. In fact, I think I'm going to whap the whole lot wet, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a sky and a sea. I think I'll just paint a whole lot in one go. Right, so I want a lot of this creamy colour, or probably a streak across there of that creamy colour, and then sort of whap it in. Oh, like that. About there, yeah. That'll do. And then, what do I want now? Let's wash my brush. Let's have a tiny bit of the cerulean blue. Probably up in there a bit, down there a bit. Same again, whack it in there. More in there. Something like that. And then let's have some purples. This is red and blue to make purple, and then I've mixed some brown into mucky it, some Bontumber into mucky it. So again, some bits across there, something like that. Well, I'll have some of this up here as well, in there. Well, I think that's looking a bit. I'm going to whack a bit more blue into that. It's just looking a bit too much of a reddish purple, so I'll whack a bit of more bluish purple in places, not everywhere. Just make it a bit interesting, that'll do. And then same down here, I'll have some bluey bits in there, and sure, something like that. That's a bit more of this cerulean colour down here, perhaps. Leave some bits in for some white clouds and stuff. What I might do, pop just a couple of white clouds in. Oh, looks nice, doesn't it? Bit of a white cloud in there and in there. And then there's a few bits really where there's some white clouds, something like that, and then I think in here I'll just do a couple of white clouds in like that. That's it. Just represent me nice white clouds. That'll do. Right, sip of coffee. I can aim in it now, let it dry a little bit. What I'm going to do now, I think I'll have some of the red and the blue to mix the purple, a bit of Bontumber in, and I think, what shall I do? Shall I go? Probably slightly on bluey side, I think I am. Let's try that. So, like in some mountains, there's one about here. Let's come in down there like that. And then I'm going to come right through here and reflect it into water. And then, just up here, you see, that's where that cloud is, and it's cutting through it. So I'm going to do that. Same it right to there. Cloud's cutting through it there. All over the lovely. Same again. Oh, there's an ear in my brush. I'm going to take it up this side to about there. And then cloud's cutting straight through that as well. So up to there. Clouds cutting through it. Not even a tiny mist. That bottom bit on there. I might do on it there. That'll be nice. Right. Yeah, so if I miss this bottom bit a little bit on there as well, and on here. Just misting it a little bit, that's it. And then that'll make my next layer stand out more. Put another bit in a minute. Dab a bit there, a little bit more, just there. Right, I'm going to take this same colour, just pop in tiny bit to the same colour I've already got, a Burnt Umber in there. See what that looks like. That's it. So that goes up through, that literally just comes down there like that, up through there. Right, now here, where that cloud goes through that one, it's cutting into this one as well, fainting that one. That's about like that. It's cutting across a little bit, and then there's a bit more up here where it gets a bit bigger. That's it. And then I've got to fade again because that cloud's cutting through. Look, I say look like it's the real cloud cutting through. I'm making it happen, but yeah, that cloud's cutting through there like that. Yeah, just looks like a little cloud cutting through, and then it sort of comes down there. So I've got to soften that bit there, so it looks like a cloud on that bit. And then blend all this in. And this sort of comes down and then back up again there. And then as I go back up again, there's another cloud cutting through it, like back there. That's it. I think I need. That's it. So, same in reflection. I'm just going to strengthen that bit up a bit. Same in reflection. So I come up to about there, across there, across this bottom bit here, up to there, up to there. So there's a cloud there, cutting in. There's a cloud there on that bit. That's it. And that just goes down there, back up there. Another cloud across top of there. Well, that's that. I'll tell you what's not looking that good. Oh, that's better. There. That looked like a cloudy mist. There we are. Now, what we got now? So that's that. That's stronger than that one. Yeah, there's another one coming in. I use the same colour, that purplish blue colour, a tiny bit of Burnt Umber to just darken it a bit so it's slightly more browny colour. This one, a bit more browny colour. This one, there's no cloud cutting into this one. So that's coming across there about like that, something like that. And then in that bottom bit there is some green. So yellow and blue, mix your kind of green up. Bit of yellow, bit of blue, bit of Burnt Umber, mix the green up. You know, I've just thought, take that to about there like that. Same underneath. I've just thought, why have I mixed this green up like this when I don't need that purple from the reflection still? What a plank. There we are, that's my green there. It's like some distant stuff, bushes or something. And this side, I've got the same green, but it looks a lot darker brown on this side, so I've just added a bit more brown to it, and it just comes along about like that. Thinner. Across there in reflection, across there, about like that. Get that in that reflection there. Something like that, that's it. and I need some purple to do on there. So wash my brush out, go back into that purple. All I do, I dip my brush in water, wash it out, and then I wipe it on tea towel to get it dry, because these brushes hold loads of water. It's a hack-a brush or a hike brush, however you want to say it. So just mixing this purplish bluish colour. Got to try and match the colour now. Into there, it comes about there, look. My brush is a bit spiky. Let's try and chisel it a bit. Up to there, back down there. That's it. Brush is a little bit spiky, but I think I might just soften that edge a bit anyway. That's better. It's like a couple of lines in it like that, look, where there's some water lines in there, so just pop them in a little bit. There, that's nice. Right, so that's that. Nice. Right, I'm tempted now, up here, because we've gone to there, up here the clouds are going to get darker, so in here I might put an extra layer of clouds in for where it's getting darker as it comes up there and reflects. So I think I might do that next. Some more coffee. Yeah, it's gorgeous outside. Me and Doofus, we've been out in the garden. We've been playing marbles. Doofus is my stepbrother. Yeah, we've been out in the garden. We've had a game of marbles, and Soppyhead, the dog, she kept trying to nick the dobbers. Well, that's about right for Soppyhead, total nuisance. She just kept trying to nick them dobber marbles. Doofus had his pet worm. So we were playing marbles with his pet worm. He's got a pet worm. And then I seen him, so I thought, I love marbles. So I had a game of marbles with him. Some of the mean kids were shouting over the wall at us. Although I don't know what they're on about. I don't think they were being mean today. They were just shouting over the wall at us, saying that we were into bread. But we're into cakes more. I'm not bothered about bread. I'd rather have like cakes, biscuits, chocolate. We're into that a lot more. But yeah, but at least they weren't being mean today. So usually they're being mean, bullying us. And my stepdad keeps telling us off, saying we've got to stand up for ourselves. But yeah, today they were being alright. I just kept saying that we liked bread. There we are, that's not bad, that. Let's just strengthen that bit up. Right, there's some rocks now. So, I'm thinking, do a nice creamy colour for these rocks. They're quite creamy. So, I think I'm going to get some, let's try some light red and yellow. Because they're quite light. See if that gives me a nice colour. Oh, that does look nice. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, I like that. So I've got light red and yellow, and that's giving me this creamy colour. Right, you know what, I'm going to pop into that. I haven't bothered washing my brush. I'm going to pop into that. I've got to work quick with this, because if this dries I'll not get my scrapes in. I'm going to scrape some rocks in. So popping into that, some burnt umber, and then I'm going to pop in as well, first time in this picture, a bit of Payne's Grey. You know what, let's go in, mix that Payne's Grey with some purple and some blue. That'll work better than the Payne's Grey. So it'll give me a dark colour, but it'll be more in keeping with this painting. So I'm going to use that instead of Payne's Grey. So I'll put some of that on as well. Right, these are all big rocks. I'll show you what I'm doing in a minute. Probably seen me do this before. One more big one in there, and then I want to get this little one. Just pop some little pebbles in. Some little pebbles like that. There, so what I'm doing, I'm taking edge of that. My phone's going, hang on, my phone's messing about. There, I'm taking edge of that and I'm just scraping in, or scraping out patterns, and then I've got a bit of cut up card, I'm scraping out rocks with that. And then if you want to go back in, if you want to go back into it, you can go back in, look, and add some low lights back in like that, look, onto the bottoms of your rocks, and you can make them look more natural like that, and reshape them a little bit like that one. Like this one here, take that up there, reshape it a little bit down there, look, and you can reshape them, you can make them look just like real rocks. Well, that'll do me. Oh dear, right. I'm going to have to wash my brush out. I don't like washing my brush out. Squeeze my brush out. I need to go back more to that light colour again. So I need that light creamy colour again. Wash my brush. Mix a bit more. In fact, that's probably enough. No, I'll mix a bit more up. So I've got yellow, light red, and it's giving me this really nice cream colour. That looks lovely. Right, so there's some out here. There's a bit here, about there, like that. It's coming out. It's about there. I think there's some reflections under it. Let's bring some down, put some reflections. That's it. Right, now without washing my brush, I'm going to go straight into that purple and blue colour, and it's sent it like a brown colour. What looks dead nice. Straight into that. Pop that in. That's my reflections and that. And then with this one this time, because it's going to be quite small. In fact, no, let's get this one. Get some rocks in. This one's working better. A few rocks in there, look, some reflections. And then, don't want that big old lump there, what's dripping about. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll get this feather brush and just pull it down a bit so it looks like actual reflections. And then, if I get this one, just soften it a bit with that one and pull it into some little liney bits like that. That's it. I think it's gone a bit too far, so I'll dab it back a bit to shorten the reflections. There we are, that's perfect. Put a bit of waterline under that, it'll look lovely in a bit. So again, if I want to reshape some of these rocks, then I can do a bit of reshaping in there. If I want to put a few extra in, I think it probably could do with a few extra down here, little ones. So if I want to do that, I can do that like that, look. This little one. Sometimes they fill back in a bit. There we are, so that's that. That's that sorted. Right, squeeze that brush out again. Back into me. Wash it, dry it, back into my creamy yellow colour. Lovely. And right, pull some extra little bits out here. It's coming across here. This is coming right across here like this, right across to about there. In fact, there we are. Doofus made me laugh earlier. When we're out playing marbles, it says, do you want a coffee, Doofus? Go on then. It's, black or white? You know, he says, brown please. It does make me laugh. I didn't bother trying to explain what I meant. Waste of time. He's a character. Oh, I've got a little plectrum this time. Making some little rocks. This is a guitar plectrum what I'm using now. There we are, some more little rocks. And then I've got my dark colour on here, so I can come in and just add some little low lights as well. Although that paint's a bit wet. It's a bit thicker paint. I can put some little low lights in and back in. Does that look alright? Yeah, of course it does. There we are. And where else we got? There's just a couple more sort of lone rocks knocking about. So back into that cream colour, bit of yellow, bit of light red. Well, right, there's a patch about here. Some rocks. There's a big in there. There's just a couple of rogue rocks just knocking about now. I'm not even looking at my painting. I'm just sticking them anywhere, really. There we are. Let's get that dark colour again. So that's purple. Bit of that blue. Like I say, I'm going to use Payne's Grey, but by using that purple and blue, I'm using the colours what's in the sky, so it makes it sit better. And it's a bit more interesting than just a Payne's Grey. Well, that's that. Guitar plectrum. You can use wherever you want. Just a bit of plastic. Don't really matter what you use. You ain't got to go out and buy a plectrum. Just use out. Out'll do. Out'll do. So that's that. And if I want to put some more low lights in, I could now come in with some burnt umber and a bit of jet black and put some real low lights in. If you want, it's up to you. I don't really need to. I'll just have them. Right, so that's that. I think now we're nearly done. Squeeze that brush out. Put that to one side. Get it quick dry. Bits of stuff in that sky. What's actually bits of that? What's this in? Look at this. This is me cloth one I'm using. That's that looks like my underpants. Right. I need some water lines in here now. Right, there's two ways to do water lines. One's to cut the colour out, and one's to add a bit of designer's white gouache, I think it's called. Gouache or gouache. That's quite good. Same again this side. Yeah, it's alright. A bit more on this side. need any gouache. So that's that. I think I'm going to pop in a little bit of gouache just on this side here. Now, when you're looking at it, it looks quite strong at first, but it's never as strong as it looks. That will fade back a lot. That side, I think it's alright. So I'll put a bit in anyway. Put a bit in anyway, but I think it's alright. Yeah, this will soak right into paper and thin right out. So that's that bit. Now then, let's come into these then. So I definitely want a bit in here. So that's in there like that. Just a little bit of waterline in there. I am just using my gouache for this. It's probably a bit easier. A bit in there. Some of this can be like reflections of the rocks above. So if I do that like that, look. If I come in here and just leave a little bit underneath, look, then it's going to look like that's reflections. Because you probably have some tiny reflections under these rocks. So if you leave a little bit underneath, look like a bit of reflection. There we are. Now then, definitely want a bit through there, and there were quite a bit on here. Like I say, it might look quite strong at the minute, but by the time this has faded back, it'll not look that strong. So there's quite a few bits in there like that. I'll say along in there. Same this side. There's quite a few bits. We'll see how much it fades and then come back and have another look. I'd say there's a let's say big in there. And there's a few bits sort of about there. I think the water's probably a bit ripply in this one bit here. A few ripples in there. See, that's fading back already. There's a few through here and all that. I think there's a few in here. Like that. Like I say, make them nice and strong because they're all going to fade back. Just looking at them fading back and just reasserting them in places. No, I think what I'll do, pop my bods in, pop my two bods in, and then I'll look again in a minute. Right, where's my little bod brush? Where's it going? There we are. Peter and Paul brush. Right, a bit of Payne's Grey all the ways. Well, shall I have them up there in that? Let's say I'm up here in this bright bit here. Look. Peter and Paul, they're out looking for worms. And Doofus don't watch this because he's got a pet worm, and if he thinks them birds are eating worms, it'll upset him. Right, so let's get a little signature in. Shall we pop it? Let's pop it. Let's pop it on this rock here, look. Boy, Bertie D. There we are. A couple of boards. Sometimes I put a sailing boat in or something, but I can't leave it today. Where's that brush gone? Yeah, can you see that white fading back, look? So I'll get a little bit more on and just dab it back in again. A little bit of Designer's white gouge. My picture's just gone off my screen, but I don't need my picture anymore at this stage. So that's just a bit of designer's gouge, look. Popping it in, and it's just re-thingying this bit. A few bits in there, I'll pour a bit more back in there again. That's a nice bit there. Let's have a look. Don't look bad on here. We just re-put a couple of bits in again on there. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, oh, a little bit in there again and all. There, I think that's just right. Like I say, that will fade back even a little. Yeah, some bits in here, look. That'll fade back even a little bit more. And then that'll be perfect, I think. So it's just subtle bits, look. Subtle bits of waterline. Right. There you are. Have a little go at that one if you want. I'll just get that camera down a bit. There you are. Have a go at that one if you want. If you just enjoyed watching it, you can't bother to go, then don't bother. If you decide you want them rocks going that way, put them in that way. If you decide you want your mountains a different shape, put them in a different shape. Do whatever you want. The world is your lobster when you're painting. Do what you want. If you've got a photo of something like this, and there's something you don't like about it, boy, it's a really nice photo, but say there's a great big hill smack in the middle of there what just looks daft, and you think, oh, that looked dead nice except for that daft bit there. Just leave the daft bit out. Simples. And then use the rest of the photo. Photos, you ain't got to be a slave to them. You just use them to help you in it. Right, so, right, I'm going to go and think I might challenge Doofus and his worm to another game of marbles. I'm going to thrash them. See, they aren't beaching it.